We are Annie Guerrero and Margarita Torres Gomez. Environment Activity 10. Principles of Internal Control, by which standard and established for the exercise of internal control in state entities and agencies and other provisions are used, law 87 of 1993. The system made up of the organization chairman and the set of plan, methods, principal standard, procedures and verification and evaluation measurements adopted by an entity in order to ensure that an activity, operation, and action and will as the administration of information and resources are carried out in accordance with the Constitution and legal norms in force with the police online by management and in response to the plans, goals, or objectives. We add auditor performs an audit and state entity. He or she must be good by ethical and professionalism principles to ensure integrity, impartiality, and quality in the audit process. Key principles that an auditor should follow: integrity, objective, confidential, competence and professionalism, compliance with ethical and professional standard, independence, professional care, effective communication, care and diligence, risk and continuous improvement. These ethical and professional principles are fundamental to ensure quality, objectivity, and integrity in the audit process of the state entity. Comply with these principles contributes to confidence in audit results and strengthen government and control. In 8 PH objectives. Strength, leadership, and human talent under the principle of integrity and legality is and drive force for generous result in public administration. Deep and solid organization culture based on information control evaluation for decision make and continuous improvement. Streamline, simplify, and make the operation more flexible for the generation of goods and services that effectively solve the needs of synthetic. Promote interstational coordinate to improve its management and performance, facilitate and promote effective synthetic participation in the planning, management, and evaluation of public entities. NEPH principal orientas to resultados, contexto análisis, strategic planning, institutional capacity analysis, measurement programming, excellent and quality, user needs and expectation, synthetic service, transparency and access to information law, integrate transparency and truth, human talent management, integrate code management for the result, synthesis participation in public management, interinstitutional anti-corruption, institutional capacity analysis, alliance development, leader and innovation, knowledge management and innovation, evaluation of results, internal control, evidence-based indices, make analysis and use of information for decision, make evaluation of results, internal control. Dimension. Strategic direction and planning is proposed is to allow public entities to define the strategic route that will guide its institutional management with a view to warranted that dreams satisfy the needs and solving the problems of scientists human talent. This dimension gives the enter and development of employees guaranteeing the principle of merit in the provision of just the development on skill, the provision of service, the application of incentives and individual performance. Ma- Management with values for results in allows the entity to carry out the activities that lead into achieve the proposed result and to materialize the decision reflect in this institutional planning with the framework on the evaluation of service. Evaluation of result promotes monitoring of performance in the entity in order the permanently now the project in achieve the result planning in its strategic framework. Information and communication allows interaction with citizens for this purpose. It is necessary to have communication channel in accordance with organization capabilities and with the provision of the transparency and access of to information law. Knowledge in innovation management in enables entities to learn about the service and their environment in an practical way, learning by doing. Internal control. Access the object of mean develop an organization culture based of information control and evaluation for decision made and continuous improvement. Internal control is the key to rationally ensuring that the other dimension of NEPH fulfill the purpose. audit the part of Antioch.
Audit report of the Department of Antioquia. General object: evaluate the budget management of the government of the Department of Antioquia during fiscal year 2022 with the purpose of guaranteeing legality, efficiency, effectiveness, and transparency in the allocation, execution, and control of public resources, ensuring compliance with the established objectives and goals in the budget and providing recommendations to improve financial administration and optimizing the use of available resources. Specific objectives: review the compliance of budget allocation with current legal regulation, examine the execution of allocated financial resources compared to the approved budget, evaluate the clarity and accessibility of budget-related information. Auditor limitation. Limitation. Limited access to certain documents of record may restrict the auditor's ability to per- perform extensive testing. Impact. Limitation of assets may affect the reliability of audit conclusions and recommendations. Auditor opinions. After examining in detail the budget of income and expenses, as well as its execution corresponding to the year 2022 by Institute for the Development of Antioquia, in accordance with the provision established in the Organic Budget Statute and Article 30H of the Law 42 of 1993. Some inaccuracies and impossibilities have been identified in the amount of income and expenses. However, it is considered that thefts are not significant from a material point of view. Basis for the auditor's opinions. After analyzing in detail the income and expense budgets for the year 2022, some discrepancies and impossibilities in the amount of income and expenses were identified, which in monetary terms are insignificant, that is, they do not have a relevant material impact. The main reason to support this evaluation is that the area is in satisfactory compliance with budgetary regulation. especially highlighting compliance with provisions such as Decree Law of 1996 and Department Order 28, 2017. In summary, the favorable opinion is based on the fact that despite the smart discrepancies identified does not significantly affect the integrity or representation of the IDEA budget for the year 2022. In addition, the institute contains and complies with applicable budget regulation. Administrative feeding execution of income. During the audit process, the performance of the renewed execution for the 2022 fiscal period was examined. Based on departmental ordinance Decree 31 issued on November 24. This decree established the general budget of the Department of Antioquia and if decentralized entities for fiscal year 2022. The Institute for the Development of Antioquia. Below is summary in the table format detailing the renewed budget execution for fiscal year 2022. This analysis will provide a clear and consistent view of the performance and compliance of project renewed compared to the financial reality of the IDEA during the fiscal year 22. When evaluation the performance of the income related to account code y 1.2 specific capital reserve. It is observed that the initial budget for this category and the of the period, the financial budget was adjusted de 43.503.43 however the total collection which represents an execution of 21.70% in relation of the initial budget. To provide a clear and more detailed representation of this information, the following table is presented that summarizes the behavior of income in account code 1.2 showing the initial budget, the final budget, and the total collection, as well as the corresponding execution percentage. This analysis offers a more specific view of how the raising of capital resources have developed compared to budget projections. Causes when examine the raising of capital resources, significant deficiencies were identified in relation to the total approved capital resource income. This resulted in failure to meet two goals established for fiscal year 2022, since the total execution was notably low. The main reason behind this poor performance lies in the non-execution of several components of the incomes, the most notable being in the cabinet of shares. This deficiency in execution negatively affected the reason of capital resources, especially in the aforementioned component, which was reflected in the overall lower than expected performance. This situation is illustrated in more detail in the accompanying table, providing a clear view of how the lack of execution of certain elements, particularly in equities, had significantly impacted the total executions of the capital resource account. Effects: the previous descriptions of the situation leads to lack of planning and results in the failure to meet execution indicators. In other words, the lack of execution of key components, especially the action items, shows allowed in strategic planning. This has a direct impact of the achievement of the established financial objectives and is reflected in the inability to achieve the execution indicator projects for fiscal year 2022. Criterion: the situation described omits what is established in Article 33 of Decretor 111, which referred to planning in the organic budget statutes. Furthermore, if those not complete with the provision detailed in the Article 32, which deals with the composition of the general budget of the department, and Article 36, which address capital resource, as established in Departmental Ordinance number 2H, which is the budgetary statute of the Department of Antioquia and if decentralized entities. In summary, the situation is now aligned with the regulatory frameworks that regulated budget planning and composition at the department level. Execution of expenses. During the audit, no irregularities or significant problems in the execution of expenses were identified. In other words, no findings or adverse situations were found during the review of the expense process, indicating that sales process was carried out properly and smoothly. Recommendation: review planning process. Evaluated the effectiveness of budget planning process to ensure they are aligned with the department strategic objectives and priorities. Strengthen internal control. Analyzed and strengthen internal controls related to budget allocation, execution, and monitoring to prevent possible errors or misappropriation. Monitoring of account execution. Carry out detailed monitoring of the execution of income, identifying possible deviations and ensuring the appropriate application of fiscal policies. Examine expenditure execution. Exhaustively review the execution of expenses, verifying the legality, efficiency, and effectiveness in the use of public resources. Evaluate regulatory compliance. Verify compliance with budgetary regulation, including relevant laws, decrees, and ordinances that ensure compliance with current legislation. Analysis of budget variations. Carry out a detailed analysis of the variation between the initial budget and the actual one, identifying the costs and evaluating their impact or financial results. Formulated specific recommendations to improve budget management, optimize resource allocation, and strengthen internal control. Propose training and awareness programs for personnel involved in budget management, focusing on best practice and regulatory compliance. Promoted transparency and accountability, train clear and accessible reports on a budget education to involving citizens. Thank you.